Aging isn't just about growing older, it's about growing wiser. But one of the biggest mistakes many people make after 70 is ignoring the little signals their body is sending them. That occasional shortness of breath, that slight dizziness, that mild pain in the chest. It's easy to brush them off as just part of aging. But here's the truth. What seems small today can turn into something serious tomorrow. Dr. Atul Gawande, a renowned surgeon and author, once said, "We've built medical systems that focus on saving lives, but not on keeping people thriving." And that's exactly the issue. Many people hesitate to see a doctor because they fear bad news, but in reality, catching a problem early can add years to your life. Think about it. A simple blood pressure check can prevent a stroke. A routine heart screening can save you from a heart attack. A basic eye exam can protect you from a dangerous fall. Yet, many people over 70 avoid regular checkups because they feel fine. But feeling fine doesn't always mean being healthy. Some of the deadliest conditions, like high blood pressure, diabetes, or even certain cancers, can be silent for years before they strike. And let's talk about pain. If you're constantly ignoring aches in your joints, thinking it's just normal for your age, you could be setting yourself up for something far worse. Reduced mobility, a major injury, or even complete dependence on others. Mobility is freedom, and once you lose it, getting it back is a battle. So, what's the solution? Listen to your body. Treat your health checkups like important appointments, just like you would for your car maintenance. If something feels different, even if it's just a slight change in how you breathe, sleep, or move, don't wait. Get it checked. Because at this stage in life, the difference between living well and just surviving often comes down to how soon you take action. There's something about growing older that can feel like a quiet withdrawal from the world. Friends move away, family gets busier, and before you know it, the phone rings less often, and the invitations slow down. What starts as a little alone time can slowly turn into long, empty days with no one to talk to. And that's where the real danger begins, not just emotionally, but physically. Loneliness isn't just about feeling sad, it's a silent killer. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness increases the risk of heart disease, dementia, depression, and even premature death. Dr. Julianne Holt-Lundstad, a leading researcher on loneliness, found that prolonged social isolation is as harmful to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's right, being lonely can be as dangerous as a serious smoking habit. And yet, so many people over 70 don't realize they're slipping into isolation until it's already affecting their health. It starts subtly. You don't feel like going out today, then tomorrow, then a week goes by, then a month. Before you know it, you can't even remember the last time you had a real conversation with someone. The truth is, humans are social creatures. Our brains are wired for connection. Even the strongest, most independent people need companionship. You might think, "I don't want to bother anyone," or "people are too busy." But imagine this. What if someone else is sitting alone, feeling just as isolated as you are? What if they're also waiting for someone to call, someone to reach out? Think about the happiest moments in your life. Were they when you were sitting alone, or were they when you were surrounded by laughter, stories, and warmth? The power of social interaction isn't just emotional. It keeps your mind sharp, your mood lifted, and your body healthier. In fact, researchers have found that maintaining social connections can reduce the risk of dementia by up to 70%. That's not just a small benefit. That's a life-changing difference. So, what can you do if loneliness is creeping into your life? Start simple. Call an old friend, even if it's been years. Join a club, a walking group, or even an online community if mobility is a challenge. Say yes to invitations, even if you feel like saying no. Smile at the neighbor, strike up a conversation with the cashier, or chat with someone at the park. It might feel small, but every interaction adds up. And if you have family that's grown distant, don't wait for them to reach out. You take the first step. Send a message, set up a coffee date, ask how they're doing. You'd be surprised how many people assume you're doing fine just because they haven't heard otherwise. Mark Twain once said, "To get the full value of joy, you must have someone to divide it with." Life after 70 isn't meant to be spent in silence. It's meant to be filled with conversations, connections, and companionship. Because at the end of the day, the best moments in life aren't about where you are. They're about who you share them with. Don't let loneliness steal your years away. Reconnect, engage, stay present. Your future self will thank you. Aging gracefully isn't about avoiding wrinkles or staying the same as you were at 40. It's about keeping your body strong enough to live life on your terms. And yet, one of the biggest mistakes people make after 70 is believing that slowing down is just a natural part of aging. The moment you start thinking, "I'm too old for this," is the moment your body starts proving you right. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, I used to go for long walks, but now I just stay inside," or "I don't really exercise anymore because my knees hurt"? It's understandable. Pain, stiffness, and fatigue can make movement feel like a chore. But the truth is, the less you move, the weaker you become. There's a powerful saying by Hippocrates, the father of medicine: "That which is used develops, and that which is not used wastes away." This is especially true when it comes to muscles, bones, and even your heart. Sarcopenia, the natural loss of muscle mass with age, begins in your 30s and speeds up rapidly after 70. If you don't actively work to keep your muscles strong, you could lose up to 50% of your muscle mass by the time you hit 80. And that's not just about strength. It's about independence. Everyday movements, getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, become harder when you lose muscle. And once these movements become difficult, you do them less. And when you do them less, you lose even more strength. It's a vicious cycle that leads to frailty, falls, and a rapid decline in overall health. Here's something most people don't realize. Falls are the second leading cause of accidental death worldwide. A simple fall in your 70s can lead to a hip fracture, and for many, that's the beginning of a downward spiral. Studies show that 25% of seniors who break a hip die within a year due to complications. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up to the reality that staying strong isn't optional. It's essential. So what can you do to fight back? You don't have to hit the gym or lift heavy weights, but you do have to move. Walking is powerful. A daily 30-minute walk can reduce the risk of heart disease, improve balance, and keep your joints healthy. If you think walking doesn't do much, consider this. Studies show that people who walk regularly live 7 years longer on average than those who don't. Strength training isn't just for bodybuilders. Simple bodyweight exercises, like squats, leg raises, or even pushing yourself up from a chair without using your hands, can help preserve muscle and prevent frailty. Stretching keeps you young. Yoga, Tai Chi, or even gentle stretching in the morning can prevent stiffness, improve flexibility, and help you move with ease. Don't forget balance. One of the best things you can do to prevent falls is practice standing on one leg for 30 seconds a day. It might sound small, but it can make a huge difference in keeping you steady on your feet. And here's the most important thing. It's never too late to start. Even if you've spent years being inactive, your body can still rebuild strength. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that people in their 90s who started a strength training program could double their muscle mass in just 10 weeks. That's the power of movement. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, "The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now." It doesn't matter if you haven't exercised in years. What matters is what you do today. Your body is capable of more than you think. Don't let inactivity steal your strength, your independence, or your years. Get up, move, and take control of your health, because the best version of your future starts with the steps you take today. Aging isn't just about the body, it's about the mind and soul. And one of the most devastating mistakes people make after 70 is believing that loneliness is just a part of growing old. It's not. Loneliness is a silent killer, and it's far more dangerous than most people realize. Think about this. How many older adults have you seen who spend most of their time alone, barely speaking to anyone, lost in a routine of isolation? Maybe it starts small. Children get busy, friends pass away, and social events feel like too much effort. Before long, days blur together, conversations become rare, and silence becomes the loudest thing in their life. The worst part? Many don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. Harvard researchers conducted an 80-year-long study on happiness and longevity, and their conclusion was simple. Good relationships keep us happier and healthier. Period. And yet, millions of older adults find themselves more disconnected than ever. Here's the reality. Loneliness is as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Studies show that prolonged loneliness increases the risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, dementia, and even premature death. In fact, older adults who feel isolated have a 50% higher chance of dying earlier than those who stay socially connected. That's not just a number, it's a warning. The hidden dangers of emotional isolation. Emotional isolation doesn't just make people sad, it physically affects the brain and body. When you go days or even weeks without meaningful conversations, your brain enters a stress state. The body starts producing more cortisol, the stress hormone, and over time, this wears down your immune system, weakens your heart, and even shrinks the brain. Yes, you read that right. Loneliness shrinks the brain. Research from the University of California found that socially isolated seniors show faster cognitive decline, making them more vulnerable to Alzheimer's and dementia. The brain is like a muscle. It needs stimulation, interaction, and engagement to stay sharp. But here's where it gets even more heartbreaking. Loneliness affects how long we live. A study in the journal PLOS Medicine found that older adults who are socially disconnected have a mortality rate similar to those with obesity or heavy smoking habits. That means you can eat the healthiest food, exercise daily, and still be at risk if you don't nurture your social connections. Why do people isolate themselves? Loneliness. After 70 doesn't always happen overnight. It's usually a slow process. Sometimes, people withdraw because they feel like a burden to their family. Other times, they avoid socializing because they believe they have nothing to contribute. And then there's grief. Losing a spouse or close friends can make the world feel emptier, leading to withdrawal. But here's the truth. Withdrawing from life only speeds up the decline. Mother Teresa once said, "Loneliness and the feeling of being unwanted is the most terrible poverty." And that poverty doesn't come from a lack of money. It comes from a lack of connection. Breaking free from loneliness. The good news. It's never too late to reconnect. Even if you've spent years in isolation, you can still rebuild your social life. It won't happen overnight, but small steps can make a world of difference. Start with simple conversations. Call an old friend. Chat with a neighbor. Say hello to someone in the grocery store. Small interactions rewire the brain to seek more social engagement. Join a local group or class. Whether it's a book club, a gardening club, or a fitness group, finding a shared activity can bring joy and new friendships into your life. Reconnect with family. If you feel distant from your children or grandchildren, don't wait for them to reach out. Make the first move. A simple text or call can open the door to more meaningful conversations. Adopt a pet. Animals provide unconditional love and companionship, and studies show that having a pet can lower blood pressure and reduce stress. Volunteer your wisdom. Schools, libraries, and community centers often look for experienced individuals to mentor young people. Your life experience is valuable. Share it. Most importantly, don't let pride keep you lonely. Many older adults hesitate to reach out because they don't want to seem needy. But think about it this way. If a friend called you just to chat, would you feel burdened? Number. You'd feel appreciated. So give others that same opportunity. The power of connection. Remember this. Human beings are wired for connection. Even in the later years of life, friendships and relationships remain one of the strongest predictors of happiness and longevity. Studies show that seniors who maintain close friendships live longer, stay healthier, and report higher life satisfaction. There's a beautiful African proverb that says, "If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together." Life after 70 doesn't have to be a slow decline. It can be a rich, meaningful journey filled with laughter, love, and purpose. But that only happens if you choose connection over isolation.